Breaking news, shots fired in Salt Lake City. What we're learning about injuries and the search for the shooter. Then a tense, hours-long standoff in Highland and how police finally brought it to an end tonight.
Chance for a few storms to start the weekend here across the state. Plus, we'll have some wildfire smoke. I'll let you know what you can expect for air quality and if the storms will ruin your weekend plans.
We're so excited, so happy.
A Utah community has never had electricity, but now all that has changed.
I didn't know if I should cry my happy tears because, it was a lot of work.
The years of work it took to make this all come together. It's a feat of strength for these young people. New at 9, how more than 100 patients are defying their physical limits. We start with breaking news as Salt Lake police are investigating a shooting downtown at about 5:30 this afternoon. Officers responded to calls of shots fired in the Fair Park neighborhood near 500 West and 400 North. That's where Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree is tonight. Jenna, what do we know so far?
That's right, Bob. Earlier this evening, officers were getting calls about a fight that broke out right here off of 400 North. And as officers were on their way here, they got a call that someone had been shot. Once they arrived on the scene, they found a man in his 20s with what they're calling a gunshot wound to an extremity. He was taken to the hospital in good condition and is expected to survive. Police do not believe there is any threat to the public at this time, but they are investigating what brought these people here and why they were fighting in the street.
I think it's unexpected in any mixed-use neighborhood. Obviously, no one wants to have a shooting occur in their neighborhood, and that's something we want to figure out within the investigation is why that did happen in this particular location. It may just be these folks arrived here together. It may be they live in the area. We just don't know that yet.
Officers say witnesses saw suspects fleeing the scene in a dark blue 4-door sedan and ask that anyone who might have any information or surveillance video to contact the police department. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Jenna, thank you. A 16-year-old boy is dead after a shooting last night in Midvale, and police are looking for the people responsible. It happened on the 600 block of West Wasatch Street. Unified Police say they don't know exactly how the shooting happened, whether it was from a car or some other way, but they do say the victim was targeted. The teen was walking with friends when he was shot. No one else was injured.
We don't think there's a threat to the public. We do believe this is gang related, so there's no immediate threat to the public.
UPD is still looking for witnesses or anyone with video of what happened. If you have any information that can help, call Unified Police. A Park City High School tennis coach is facing charges tonight of aggravated child abuse. Court documents indicate 62-year-old Lonnie Wilcox confronted a 16-year-old player on the school's tennis team on August 29th. The documents say when Wilcox got close to the player's face, the student slapped her. Wilcox allegedly grabbed the student by the neck in a, quote, chokehold and took her to the ground. She has since been placed on administrative leave but has not been arrested. When asked if there would be discipline for the student involved, the Park City School superintendent said no comment. A 25-year-old man who barricaded himself in a house in Highland this afternoon is in custody tonight. Multiple agencies responded to the area near the intersection of SR 92 and SR 54 near Country Corners. They spent almost the entire afternoon negotiating with the man who had allegedly assaulted his family. Roads near the scene were shut down and a shelter-in-place order was issued at one point. Indications are the man was having what police are calling a mental episode.
That you get to turn on that light, you get to have light to read your book, you get to have a refrigerator going, you have to, the shower, you get in the shower and the lights on and everything, even at night.
This has been a big day for a small community in southeastern Utah. After decades of trying, the lights are finally on in Westwater. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow was there today and explains how much something many of us take for granted means to the people who call Westwater home.
This little light is a big deal. At long last, the community of Westwater finally has electricity. Renee Jean can do this without worry anymore. The lights won't come on.
We're so excited, so happy, but some of us are still getting used to it.
Last year, we met her when she hosted a bunch of politicians in her front yard. They were pushing for water and power. People here have been living off of generators and wood and trucking in water. At the time, many in Westwater didn't think it would ever happen. They'd been promised it before, and those promises were broken. But now, it's finally here.
I didn't know if I should cry my happy tears because, you know, it was a lot of work from the time we first started to now. So it was very heart-touching for me.
Why Westwater hasn't had utilities until 2022 is complicated.
It's tribal land, but it's not reservation land, so it's not part of the city of Blanding. It's just kind of been in this jurisdictional limbo, and there hasn't been any one entity that can step forward and really solve the problems. It has taken a lot of us working together.
The state used pandemic funds. The Navajo Nation allocated money, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints also made a donation.
We're just one of the many distributors.
At a celebration in Blanding, they marked the occasion, recognizing and thanking those who helped make it happen.
To see them get the conveniences that you and I have had for a long time it's a good feeling. It's really awesome.
You just have more time now to be productive and not have to stress about fuel and if their solar battery is going to run out.
There's a sense of joy and relief in Westwater.
It feels good, you know, but then again, there's bills afterwards.
Of course, the work is not done yet. They've still got to get water into this community, and that's going to take a lot more effort. Agreements are being worked on. They're looking at the infrastructure. The hope is that they will have running water by the end of 2023. In Westwater, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Switching gears to the weather now, let's take a look at this. This was this morning. A taste of winter up in the Uintas. Fox 13 News viewer sent this to us. This is snow on Bald Mountain Pass.
That's a good hike. Have you done that, Bob? Bald Mountain?
No. I've never done that.
Oh.
But I want to know how much snow is going to fall at the airport this weekend.
Not any at the airport here in Salt Lake City. At least not for a while, but fun fact, the earliest we've ever had measurable snowfall here in Salt Lake City was September 17th. So that's tomorrow's date. Don't worry, there's none here in the valley in the forecast for Salt Lake City. When we look at our radar, though, near the Idaho border, we do have a few storms west of I-84. A little bit of lightning, not bad. We do have a little bit more organization just towards Canyonlands to the north, just west of Moab, moving through south of Green River, a little thunderstorm right there that's bringing a little bit of lightning. So you can maybe see that off in the distance if you're in the area. But overall, we have a really nice Friday night here across the state, and we will continue with comfortable temperatures as we head into the weekend. So for the Wasatch Front tonight, we're not getting the lightning show like we had last night, but we'll have temps close to 60 throughout the night, and hour by hour about 60 to 65 at 10 p.m. and then into tomorrow morning, dropping into the 50s for the Wasatch Front. Now we still have some storm chances, valley rain here over the next couple of days. I'll let you know what you can expect tomorrow if the rain will impact your plans, and also where we'll have some wildfire smoke this weekend.
Allison, thanks so much. Utah's largest school district is growing larger, both in student population and the number of buildings to accommodate them. That is, if a $595 million bond is approved by voters in November. The Alpine School District is planning to use that money for new school construction, rebuilds and renovations, adding to existing schools, safety and security, and land acquisition. Earlier today, I spoke with David Stevenson with the Alpine School District, who says the projects are needed.
As people drive around Utah County, northern Utah County, and see all of the growth happening, we're going to be, we have a projected growth enrollment of 4,900 more students by 2030. and that's going to be here before we know it.
Stevenson adds that the bond would not affect the average homeowner's tax burden due to a method he called bond layering. Election Day is November 8th. New tonight, more than 100 patients from Shriners Children's Hospital in Salt Lake came together at Utah's Hogle Zoo for the 8th annual Walk for Love presented by Big O Tires. This was the first Walk for Love since the pandemic began, and it fell on the 100th anniversary of Shriners Children's beginning to provide care at its first location in Shreveport, Louisiana. The event raised more than $100,000 toward the clinic's mission of providing care regardless of a family's ability to pay. A police officer killed in the line of duty is laid to rest. Coming up, the show of support for his family from Utah and across the Mountain West.
Love harder, be kinder. Signs like these, one local woman hopes will be the difference in someone's life. I'm Amy Nay in Central Utah. I'll have more on her inspirational story and this growing kindness movement coming up.
It is a lot more than passes and plays here tonight. We're taking you to the field dedication of a Utah high school coach who gains his wins on his players' off-field successes.
A Colorado police officer was laid to rest today after being shot and killed in the line of duty last Sunday. The community in Arvada, Colorado, paid its respects to Officer Dylan Vakoff this morning. He died while doing a welfare check on 2 children. Since Officer Vakoff's passing, there has been an incredible show of support from many people, including here in Utah. Today, a wooden badge made by Nate I, a custom woodworker in Ogden, was presented to Officer Vakoff's family. I says he heard about the story on the news earlier this week and immediately decided to carve a special memorial for Vakoff. Yesterday, we caught up with Daniel Sievert while he was in southern Utah. The California man has run Golden Missions of America with his various Golden Retriever comfort dogs that he has owned since 2013. He and his dog Cooper stayed in Richfield last night and left for Colorado this morning. They're providing relief and comfort for the late officer's friends and family and anyone else who needs it.
This trip was actually going to be a bucket list trip for Cooper and I. And our trip is also on behalf of Ukraine. And it's on behalf of a lot of friends that I know that have lost loved ones and canines. So this is a symbolic trip that wasn't intentionally meant to go anywhere specific, but a mission occurred a few days ago in Colorado. And the mission now is to go and approach the police officers in that city and try to do some good, bring some joy.
Sievert doesn't do any official fundraising as he travels around the country to help people in their time of need. If you would like to know more about his cause, just search Golden Missions of America, Golden Missions of America on Facebook. Well, they're popping up more often lately in some central Utah communities, inspirational messages of hope. You can do this. Tomorrow matters. Somebody loves you. A movement of kindness started by a woman who has experienced her own grief. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay shares this woman's Positively Utah story.
Our hope is to cover Sanpete and then beyond.
Linda Christiansen of Manti started putting signs around her community in central Utah back in 2020. Now local cities and towns like Gunnison are putting them up, like this banner on Main Street.
Yeah, I've seen them around, so I'm used to them, but it's nice that somebody's out there trying to spread a optimistic message.
It just makes my heart want to burst, knowing that maybe I'm touching someone's life and maybe I'm helping someone that needs a pick-me-up.
Your life matters. Signs like these messages of hope are things that Linda says she wishes were around when her son Cade was struggling. At just 21 years old, she lost him to suicide a year and a half ago.
What if he would have seen a sign and he would have stopped?
She says now she hopes to help lift someone else.
We're all going to have bad days. And if we can lighten each other's lives just here and there, you might make a huge difference in someone's life.
being encouraged by others who gave her this idea to put up signs.
And I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. So I started looking into what I needed to do. I wanted to make it a nonprofit.
Recently getting her 501c3 status, Linda's nonprofit is now up and running, called Sanpete Kindness.
We print signs and we don't charge for them. Everybody has hard days and sometimes we just need a little lift. We are just people that hope to brighten someone's day.
I know
You
that's
can do
along the
it.
trail because
Yep.
when I'm jogging, I see it and it inspires me to keep going.
And that's what we want. That even if you're not considered someone that deals with depression or anxiety, we want everyone to feel better. I feel better every time I see them.
Linda says as her group continues to grow, sometimes it seems too much or too heavy, but then she remembers why and can't help but continue on.
I couldn't save my son, but I'm hoping that someday I will know that I turned one person's life around. Even though our group is called Sanpete Kindness, it's not restricted to Sanpete on any level. If someone wants one of our signs, they can have a sign.
And if you want a sign or a banner or a window decal, Linda says just reach out to Sanpete Kindness. It's a nonprofit. You can find them online and we can link you at fox13now.com. Reporting in Gunnison, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And I think many of you will be out enjoying the nice weather this weekend, but I wanted to start off with a live look from the Natural History Museum because last night at this time, this camera was just lit up with lightning off in the distance. That's not the case tonight. However, we're not completely out of the clear or in the clear with our temperatures and those are going to be heating up this weekend, and we also have some more chances for thunderstorms into tomorrow and also some wildfire smoke. So it's not all perfect, but it's going to be pretty perfect. 67 in Salt Lake right now, 66 for Ogden, 64 for Provo. UV index for tomorrow will be high. I know that it's cooling down and you're maybe not thinking about that sunscreen, but it's still going to be important tomorrow to make sure you're wearing that sunscreen, a hat and sunglasses when you're outdoors. Satellite and radar, mostly clear sky here across northern Utah. A few storms west of I-84, just northwest of the Great Salt Lake, and then down towards just west of Moab and north of Canyonlands. We also have a few thunderstorms moving through. For Salt Lake this evening, our temps will drop into the 50s around 4 or 5 a.m. tomorrow. So when you wake up, you'll have a cool start. And then those temperatures are going to be heating up again by Sunday. But let's go ahead and talk about why this weekend won't be perfect weather. Still have some concerns. Storm threat for tomorrow is Salt Lake City further north and then over towards the Uintas and Uinta Basin. So my main piece of advice for you this weekend is I wouldn't worry about changing or canceling your plans. I would just stay weather aware, and if you have to run inside for a little bit, clean up for a moment, then go ahead and do that. But we're going to have just such nice temperatures that I think a lot of you will want to be outside and enjoying it. When you wake up tomorrow, it'll be a cool start, so a cozy morning will be nice. 50s early in the day, and then tomorrow for a high of perfect 77. That's my favorite temperature. We'll have some isolated storms possible, and then the other concern with the forecast is, yes, we'll have some areas of smoke. I'll get into more details on that, where it's coming from and where we'll see the haziest conditions later in the hour. But tomorrow for highs, Saturday across the state, temperatures into the 70s. And for St. George, you're going to stay dry this weekend, and then your chance for storms will start to increase middle of next week. For St. George, tomorrow 87, 90 on Sunday, close to 90 on Monday and Tuesday as well, with that chance for storms middle of next week for St. George. Salt Lake, we're back close to 85 to 90 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll also see some chances for storms next week and maybe even tomorrow. Coming up later in the hour, we'll talk about our chance for rain here in Salt Lake and also the wildfire smoke.
Thanks, Allison. Still ahead, 2 young men saved a woman's life while on the job. Hear from them about the harrowing ordeal and why they were able to jump into action. And we'll show you how the Davis School District is helping struggling teens be in the best position to succeed. 2 Utah students are being praised for performing CPR and likely saving a young woman's life. Earlier this month, Christian Madsen and Jason Wells were working on the construction site at the LDS Temple in Tooele for the Utah Career Center. That is a plumbing, pipe fitting, welding, and heating and air conditioning school. The students credit their ability to save the young woman's life to the safety training they received in the Utah Career Center's OSHA 30 class.
It's always a good feeling to know that when it was needed in the time and in the place and in the moment that you were there and you were able to do it.
It was a huge satisfaction to know that in that moment you're helping somebody, but it doesn't hit you until like after the adrenaline starts to wear off and you realize we just saved somebody's life.
The woman whose life Christian and Jason saved has since made a full recovery. Several new teen resource centers are being built in the Davis School District to serve at-risk students. This comes because of donations from the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation and the Huntsman Foundation. Today, there was a ribbon cutting for one of the 5 resource centers, this one at Mountain High School in Kaysville. The other resource centers are being built in Northridge, Layton, Woods Cross, and the Renaissance Academy. Students will have access to counselors and family service workers to assess needs, help them graduate from high school, and complete college applications.
And I feel so much love for our students, and I don't want to feel like, oh, we have to help these poor kids because they can't do it by themselves. I want them to know that they can, and that we're going to just do everything we can to make it a little bit easier.
The centers also give students a safe place to shower, do laundry, study, eat, and access critical resources such as hygiene essentials.
School districts have been banning books at an unprecedented pace. Now, a group of best-selling Utah young adult authors are fighting back, and we'll show you how.
Utah is the perfect environment because it's so diverse. There's a lot of people here from all over the place.
First responders and those on the front lines of healthcare involved in unique training to save lives on roads less traveled. And you could own a real live desert tortoise, but there's a catch. Some successful authors living in Utah are declaring their opposition to the actions of several school districts. They say a trend toward book banning has to stop. Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth has a preview of their statement coming out this weekend.
Several Utah school districts have rolled out lists of banned books this year. The 2 biggest districts, Alpine and Davis, also made the longest lists. Well, on Sunday, 40 authors will publish a letter in Sunday's print edition of the Salt Lake Tribune, accompanied by a story outlining their intentions. Shannon Hale, author of the best-selling Princess Academy series of young adult novels, wrote the letter, and it's signed by an A-list of Utah authors. Among them, Ali Condi, who wrote the #1 New York Times bestseller, Matched, and Lindsay Levitt, author of Vegas Strong and the Princess for Hire series, among others. Salt Lake Tribune reporter Palak Jaiswal interviewed the 3 authors for Sunday's story.
Shannon said that they've never seen, as a group of authors, so many attempts to kind of overwhelmingly target books that kind of highlight marginalized communities.
Books about LGBTQ teens or written for those teens make up 21 of 52 books pulled off of the shelves of the Alpine School District in early August. That's according to the organization PEN America. Minority, ethnic, or racial groups are featured in a number of others, and other books feature sexual activity or images. The authors signing on to the newspaper column aren't generally on any list of banned books.
Ali Condi specifically said, we are 3 white women. We aren't often affected by this kind of stuff, but our peers are.
The bans have been turbocharged by the legislature. They passed a law prohibiting schools from offering what they call pornographic or indecent materials. Now, these authors say books can save the lives of struggling teens, and they're worried about the growing teen suicide trend. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We now know the name of the man who died when a Trax train crashed into the Uber he was riding in. Salt Lake police say 28-year-old Jalen Neal died Wednesday morning. The Uber driver is accused of running a red light at 700 South West Temple Street. That driver has not been charged or cited at this point, but the investigation is ongoing. St. George police say an intoxicated driver hit a pedestrian, kept driving, and then hit 2 cars. It happened last night at 2450 East from 350 North to 610 North. Police say the pedestrian was taken to the hospital. No word on her condition. The driver was arrested on suspicion of DUI.
Continuing education in our positions, especially healthcare in general, but especially our positions, is very important.
It's a first-of-its-kind convention using the outdoors to their advantage. Doctors, first responders, and medical professionals are training to save people's lives on the roads less traveled. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph spent the day with them as they trained in Big Cottonwood Canyon.
Up Big Cottonwood Canyon, outside in the beautiful scenery and nature, are a group of lifesavers and first responders.
So we're taking advantage of beautiful weather, the beautiful terrain, and we're doing something a little different.
That something different is a first of its kind.
People are very familiar with medical conferences, and we are medical professionals.
While a medical convention would normally take place at a hotel or convention center, it's called the Crash and Learn Conference, and it's all about teaching medical professionals from around the country to treat patients without the resources of a hospital.
Why not put it yourself in the training portion of that in the same environment where you're actually going to be transporting patients?
Mike Boone is the one heading up this weekend.
Utah is the perfect environment because it's so diverse. There's a lot of people here from all over the place.
They aren't just training in the outdoors, they're staying here too.
We have people here that are very outdoorsy. They camp all the time, and we have others not so much and maybe woke up in a puddle, especially with the weather we had last night during the rain.
This is my first time to Utah.
Those like Brittany Harrison.
It is cold. I don't usually tent camp, so that's new for me also.
Are still getting used to the outdoors. She's from Mississippi and says this innovative way to teach is having an impact.
It makes it more surreal. You can actually envision in your head, like, okay, I've got a patient right here. I'm out in the wilderness. It's cold here. It just kind of puts it in a little bit more of a real perspective than being in a classroom setting.
Most of these people, whether first responders or physicians, are going to be charged with saving lives.
In the jobs that we carry, we are expected to be top of the line with our knowledge.
So for those getting this training and going back to work in Utah, as well as the rest of the country, they have this message to those that may one day find themselves in harm's way.
I want them to know that we are doing this because not only it's a requirement of our job, but a lot of us are here due to the passion.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News.
Because we want to be as educated as possible so that we can take the best care of patients.
Utah.
Coming up, how you can have an endangered desert tortoise as a pet.
All right, and coming up, we still have a few thunderstorms that we're watching over towards Moab tonight, just north of Canyonlands, approaching Arches National Park, where we'll see some storms tomorrow, and also your wildfire smoke forecast because some of you may be impacted.
If you're in the market for a pet, how about a Mojave Desert tortoise? The Division of Wildlife Resources is looking for people to adopt about 20 of them. The species is endangered and it's illegal to take them from the wild, but these tortoises are ones the DWR has because they can no longer live in the wild, either because they were illegally removed, brought in from another state, or wandered into an urban area.
Unfortunately, when a tortoise has been housed in somebody's home, we're unable to release it back into the wild because they're pretty susceptible to a pneumonia type disease.
We spoke with a Kaysville man who adopted a tortoise through this program in 2019. He talked about what it's like to have an animal like this in his home.
I think they can be like kind of curious, like trying, like I was saying, you know, they're curious in that they want to try to get through things and under things. They're trying to squeeze between things. They just seem to have this like sense of wanting to like roam.
For details on what you need to do to qualify to adopt one, go to fox13now.com.
An everlasting honor for a Utah high school football coach tonight who counts his wins off the field.
Salt Lake City is joining the local Mexican community in celebrating Mexican Independence Day. Tonight, the City County building in Washington Square is lit up in the colors of the Mexican flag. You're looking at it right there. Mexico's independence from Spain is one of several Independence Days this week that mark the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. After 18 seasons, retiring Juan Diego Catholic High School head football coach John Colosimo got a homecoming welcome that few coaches ever get. Fox 13 News anchor Kelly Chapman was there tonight as they celebrated the beloved coach in a way that is positively Utah.
Tonight, this football field at Juan Diego High School dons a new name, John Colosimo Field at Soaring Eagle Stadium. And after retiring 5 years ago, the coach is back tonight to receive the honor of a career.
Under the Friday night lights in Draper, Juan Diego Catholic High School prides itself on academics.
We work really hard here.
Community.
You know, we're all a family here. It's just kind of, we all do everything together. We all lift each other up.
And spirit. First opening in 1999, Juan Diego was a small school with a blank slate, athletic records that were empty and had to be made.
We were very successful on the football field, no doubt about it.
Coach John Colosimo took the helm of the Soaring Eagle football team for the inaugural season and stayed for 17 more.
It's been a great journey, and I'm just very proud.
A career that landed Colosimo in the National High School Football Hall of Fame in 2014, 2019 Best of State High School Coach, induction into the Utah High School Sports Hall of Fame, and 8 Division State Football Championships.
Thrilled to coach those kids and how wonderful they were and their families were, and it's just been a great experience.
Incredible honors, but the real wins, Coach tells me, were the ones off the field.
I always say football is our 7th class of the day. So everything you have to do when you go to math and science, you have to be there, you have to be on time, you have to have a uniform on, you have to have done your assignments. That's the same thing on the football field.
Coach Colosimo measures his true success by that of his former players.
He's everything to this program and to the school. Built it from the ground up, here from the beginning, and built this football program to what they are today. Established the core values and standards.
I really appreciated his take on teamwork.
Since retiring in 2017, Colosimo estimates he has coached over 1,000 athletes during his years on the sideline. And countless more will one day play on the field that as of Friday night bears his name. Kelly Chapman, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Way to go, Coach Colosimo. The first Art at the Park continues tomorrow at This Is the Place Heritage Park in Salt Lake. Top Utah artists get the unique opportunity to display their art and connect with the community. With more than 80 working studios, visitors can experience works of art as they are being created. During this event, you can buy these original works of art and visit with the artist. The event ends tomorrow at 6 p.m. and it's free. Fox 13 News peeked in on rehearsals for the annual Thriller performance at Odyssey Dance Theater. After 28 years, the curtain will fall on the Odyssey Dance Theater for good at the end of this season. The owners are closing the business to move on to other live pursuits. The first Thriller show is next Friday at the Egyptian Theater in Park City. You can also catch performances in Logan, Ogden, Salt Lake, and Ivins in southern Utah, but you better act fast. Tickets are nearly sold out. There's a lot going on all over Utah this weekend. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to fox13now.com with information about more than a dozen family-friendly events you can add to your weekend calendar.
Okay, go ahead and also pencil in a little bit of smoke out there from
smoke,
wildfires.
huh?
Yes, so last Friday we saw a lot of smoke that moved into the state. You remember that probably. You could taste it. It was really strong. That was all smoke coming in from Idaho. What we're seeing tomorrow is smoke coming in from fires off to our west. So we're going to see improvements throughout the day. As we head into Saturday afternoon, we're going to get some breezy conditions into Sunday, and we're going to pull some better air up for you for the second half of the weekend. Sunday will be the best day to get outside between tomorrow and Sunday. So here's what I want you to know as we head into the rest of tonight. We are not going to see the storms tonight like we saw last night, all right? So we've got partly cloudy sky here along the Wasatch Front. We do still have some thunderstorms near Canyonlands, Moab, Arches National Park. So this is an area where we're seeing some rainfall and also a little bit of lightning, a lot of lightning actually. Into the overnight hours, we're going to see those temps in the 50s and 60s, partly cloudy sky here across the state. And then we head into tomorrow, and our temperatures are going to be really comfortable. Salt Lake 77, Ogden 74, Provo 78, and then across southern Utah, St. George, you're going to have a really nice weekend. 87 tomorrow, upper 70s for Richfield and Cedar City. And for eastern Utah, we'll have those temps in the upper 80s for Moab, 74 for Price, and 74 for the Uinta Basin. Now, obviously, we need the rainfall. We desperately need it here across the state. We'll get a little bit of rain this weekend, mainly for the Wasatch Mountains. We could see across far northern Utah, chances for less than ½ inch of rain. So there's not a ton of rain in the forecast. Part of the reason that we had such significant rain totals this week was because we were tracking those remnants of Hurricane K. So not tomorrow, not expected tomorrow for flash flooding. So it's actually going to be really nice to get outside, not only for temperatures across southern Utah, but you don't have to worry about that risk of flash flooding. Now for St. George, you're close to 90 degrees Saturday, Sunday, and into next week. And then middle of next week, we'll have some more chances for storms. For the Wasatch Front, we have upper 70s tomorrow, and by Sunday, we're looking at 84 degrees. You may be wondering, okay, how's our air quality going to be impacted this weekend because of that wildfire smoke? We're tracking moderate air quality for Saturday and Sunday for Salt Lake. Temperatures are going to be close to 90 as we start next week, so you'll have a hot above average start, and then you're closer to average by Wednesday next week. Partly cloudy middle of next week with some more storm chances for us here in Salt Lake City. For tomorrow, widely scattered storms along the Wasatch Front, so we've got that possibility tomorrow. Not a great chance. Many of you will have a dry weekend, but we still have that chance tomorrow for a stray storm or two. And then middle of next week, we'll have some more chances for storms as well as we get into Wednesday and Thursday next week. Thursday, those temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler. And as we look at our temperature outlook, we're going to have above average temperatures as we head into the last week of September. And in case you're wondering, 80 is a normal high this time of year. By next Friday, 76.
6 weeks into the high school football campaign, the amount of undefeateds around the state stood at 10. That group, of course, trying to keep it that way after tonight. A list that included Farmington hosting Layton in Region 1. The Phoenix up 7-3 with 24 ticks left till the half. Plenty of time to add another touchdown. Easton White and Mitch Nielsen do. 12-yard hookup. 14-3 the score going into the locker room. The Lancers with a golden chance to get back in it real quick. Tyler Wenzel fires up the cannon. Easton McMillan double covered, had it but knocked loose. Then the Farmington defense gets to Wenzel, hit hard by Luke Hansen and picked by Dayton Runyon. Layton actually took the lead with back-to-back scores in the third, but the Phoenix won it 21-17 with a score in the fourth. At 5A, 5-0 Bonneville with Bountiful at their place. The Redhawks better to start here. Owen Geilman. Quick hit Sam Stevenson, the senior, toward the middle before bouncing outside for plenty more. Down inside the red zone to set up the game's first touchdown. One play later, Geilman. Nice sell. 4 yards past the pylon in the lead as well. Geilman gets bit this time, though, with the deep ball. Great stab. Maximus Diaz, his second straight game with an INT. Had one last week against Viewmont, but the Lakers cough it right back up. Russell Smith blindsided Jackson Johnson right there. The ball is out, leading to a monster boot. Ben Smith shanked an extra point on the touchdown, but drains from 50 right there. And Bountiful with the upset, 23-14. Go to 3A, Morgan on the Wasatch Front. At Juan Diego, where this was all Trojans. 3 TDs through the air tonight for Gavin Turner. The second of back-to-back to Nick Despain. Gunnar Lish beginning the third across the pylon. Morgan takes out the Soaring Eagle, 42-3 the final there. And back to 6A, starting with Pleasant Grove at Lone Peak, opening drive. This happens, Caden Housen to Trey Robinson, who slips a tackle and takes it to the house. In fact, for the night lead, stay in the first. PG's turn. Nick Stafiri connecting with Cannon Hale. Hale stays on his feet and across to tie it at 7 after 1 quarter. Lone Peak using the kicking game to take the lead back in the second. Isaac Sanchez from 40 yards here. Lone Peak has just won the game, so that final is actually not in the fourth, it's final. 24-14. Staying in Region 4 for American Fork and Corner Canyon. The Chargers up big, 21-0 at the break, but here come the cavemen out of the cave. Maximus Edwards to Josh Andrus in the third. A-Fork suddenly on the board. Then after recovering a fumble, they add 6 more. Lucas Segura to make it a 1-score game. The Chargers, however, had too many scores in them, and they take it easily. Final there, 35-14. And get ready for a college football quadruple header tomorrow right here on Fox 13. Oregon and BYU at 1:30 might be the best of the bunch, but coverage begins before that with Nebraska hosting Oklahoma in the morning, Ohio State and Toledo at 5, with USC and Fresno State at 8:30. That's 14 consecutive hours of college football should you choose to veg out and make it a marathon, and that includes our own Bob Evans, who plans on just living next to the television set tomorrow.
I wish I could. Tomorrow's another work day, so, but hey, we just got 10 pounds of high school and college football in a 5-pound bag.
Then the NFL the day after that.
Yeah, no kidding. Morgan, thanks so much. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching Fox 13 News at 9. Quickcast is up next.